It's Wednesday, so here at Spike Week, that means we're drafting some BBM teams. I really don't know who we're going to draft. I got my favorite players. Got some players I probably need to get my exposure up to, but I can promise you one thing, that in the year 2025, we are not going to be drafting Darren Waller. Hello, happy Wednesday. Apologies to the Darren Waller slappies. But no, I'm not going to go on a long soliloquy about Darren Waller or frankly about Jonnu Smith. It's a wonderful Wednesday. It's beautiful outside. Just walked the pups. It's wonderful. We're not going to spoil it with a guy who got kicked to the curb by Kelsey Plum, retired from football, didn't love football anymore, and is now coming back to be a worse version of Jonnu Smith. Is Darren Waller going to make the team? I don't know. That's going to be the extent of the Darren Waller conversation here. I have not added him to the rankings yet. I might put him at the back end if camp goes well for him, but not a big fan. I do find the Jonnu Smith trade fascinating from a real life sense, but really, really boring from a fantasy football sense. I kind of think Darren Waller might be the best offensive player on the Pittsburgh Steelers, but what does that mean in an Arthur Smith, Aaron Rodgers, Mike Tomlin, Calvin Austin, Caleb Johnson offense? I have absolutely no idea. Amen. Go Bills, aka the Billikens, the St. Louis Billikens. Does this mean Darren Waller's rap career is over? Probably. I think it was over before it started, but nonetheless, I'm being actually serious. Like, Darren Waller is old. He has not played in almost 2 years. He was not good the last time that we saw him. He cannot block. He's probably a worse blocker than Jonnu Smith, who's a bad blocker. He has never been able to stay healthy for the last however long. I'm not really sure why, other than the name, right? Once upon a time, Darren Waller. This reeks of, remember Julio Jones? When Julio Jones went to the Bucks, I believe. This reeks of that. Like, was once good and is a big name. It's like Russell Westbrook or Chris Paul. These like aging guys, right? This is being super disrespectful. But these guys are just not good anymore, and it's okay, right? Aaron Rodgers just isn't good anymore, and now we're adding Darren Waller to the guy who acquired the Dolphins tight end. It's all bizarre. When I think about best ball tournaments and I think about how we win them, the Darren Waller just doesn't make any sense. So, not a fan. Jonnu is interesting. I'm curious. I'm waiting out the Jonnu Smith, the Steelers weird, whatever the hell that trade was with Jonnu Smith, to kind of see. I believe I have Jonnu ranked somewhere around pick 160 and Freiermuth around pick 190. Slightly different for each side, but that's, Underdog, which of course we're drafting Best Ball Mania teams today on Underdog. That's where I have about Jonnu and Freiermuth, but I'm willing to look into those guys more and draft more of them later in the summer. I'm just kind of waiting to see where ADP settles on those guys. We'll see what happens with the market. It's possible that we get a chance to maybe buy some Jonnu Smith, but we'll see. I'm waiting that out. Julio bounced around like crazy, and it was this exact scenario. Except we kind of expected that Julio, we thought Julio was going to play still with all these other teams, Titans, of course, Eagles, and the Bucks. And it was like, it seems okay because the Julio Jones name carries a lot of weight, but he just wasn't that player anymore. And we catapult him up, and you look back and you're just like, yeah, why were we surprised that the 34-year-old kind of washed up guy didn't matter, especially at non-last round prices? Like, if it was the last round or the 17th round, because what's the difference on Underdog? If you wanted to say, I'll take a swing on Darren Waller at that price. I still think there are other tight ends that you can swing on with probably even more upside than Darren Waller. Like, he's replacing a guy who people weren't that excited about. Last year, nobody was excited for Jonnu Smith. He went in like the 16th round. Now Jonnu was going after pick 100. Waller's not going to replicate that. So what are we winning? What do we win when we win type of a question? I don't even know what we win if Darren Waller is a hit, and he's got to make the team first, like nonetheless get on the field. So we'll see. Jeremy, a good question. 20 seconds or 30 seconds. We're going to do a 20-second BBM here in just a second. And we'll try to rip 2 of those here today and see if we can't draft a couple of winners. Austin says, being 30, all this age talk makes me sad. I recently turned, it's been over a month now, a month and a half. And I turned 37, Austin. So I also feel very old, and it makes me feel old how easily those references like just flow off the tongue, where you're like, yeah, remember Amon-Ra's rookie year? And some people are like, Jesus, that was forever ago. And I'm like, I don't know. I remember it like it was yesterday. Remember the Rashad Penny season? It lives in best ball lore. That's probably why I remember it so well, but it also was a long time ago, 5 years ago. And, we're getting old. Everyone liked the video. Amen, Billy. Appreciate you. This is a scorching hot take. Waller is as good as Gesicki. That is a scorcher. Gesicki is whatever, but Waller hasn't been as good as Gesicki in we got to actually look at facts, right? Like, Darren Waller. Let's take a look. See, I said I was going to be done, but I do want to just for reference. The last time Darren Waller played was in 2023, in which he played 11 games. He played 12 games. It caught 52 balls for 552 yards and 1 touchdown on the New York Giants. He got hurt and retired because he was not good anymore. From an efficiency perspective, let's look at the Darren Waller efficiency super quickly. I should have had this pulled up. My apologies, but didn't expect to be talking about Darren Waller's, target per route run or yards per route run or any of that kind of stuff. Let's see. 2023, 1.5, 1.5, 1.7 in his final 3 seasons, of which were multiple years ago. Yeah, but if the Giants sucked, he should be getting all the work, right? Like, that's not, it just doesn't work that way. You can't just say, Malik Neighbors is fine on the New York Giants. Other guys on the Giants were fine. So yeah, but Malik Neighbors is. Wandale earned more targets. Darius Slayton is fine. Gesicki has not always played for the Bengals for his whole career. And Darren Waller hasn't played in 2 seasons. We don't get to just, it's not a video game. You don't just say, pull this guy out of retirement. Once upon a time, he was an 85 rating. He's old and hasn't played and has been hurt. He is 33 years old, turning 33 years old. He quit because he didn't like football anymore. And all of a sudden we're going to led the team in yards per route run years ago. Is he going to lead the Dolphins in yards per route run? What's the win? Someone tell me what the win is. Is he going to have 1.5 yards per route run? And he's also not a round 18 pick. Nick says, is 1.5 yards per route run bad for an 18 round tight end? No, he doesn't go in the 18th already. That's what I said. If he were an 18th round pick and you want to take a shot, go for it. He's not going in the 18th round. It's not the same. It's not the same thing. Yeah, Terrence is a troll. It's fine. I get it. I don't mind. It's good conversation. He posts ridiculous takes and baits me. It's okay. I like Gesicki. And if Gesicki were a last round pick, he would be an absolute home run slam dunk for sure. This is absolute nonsense. Stop pouring whiskey into your coffee, Terrence. Darren Waller comp to Carmelo is just it ain't gonna hit. I'll tell you that much. I like this. Jason said his upside is cooked. Dalton Schultz. We're popping into the first BBM No. Nolan says late round tight end is all about safe points and touchdown variance. I think that's a fair assessment, though. I'm trying to see if I can elaborate on this. You also want upside. Anybody remember since we're going back in the way back clock to when Darren Waller was once good, and actually liked football and didn't want to be a rapper. Just important context that the guy doesn't really like football very much. No big deal, right? Like just kind of important context. If we're going to talk about how good the guy is as a football player, I don't think that we can leave out the fact that he doesn't even really like football. Remember Jordan Reed on the then Washington Redskins, the now Washington Commanders? Last round pick-ish was the tight end 1 on the season. Remember Jonnu on this team last year, who was better at football than Darren Waller, was the tight end 5 or 6 or something like that last season, was really, really useful. We want that kind of upside. And I'm certainly willing to be wrong about these kinds of guys, but I don't know how many times we got to do this with the veteran guy, where it's like, it's just over, man. And what are you winning? Like Theo Johnson could genuinely be good. There's like no outs to Darren Waller being a difference-making player after all this time off. Like show me since we're so big into the data in the best ball world right now, big into the fans in fantasy football. We love our let's look at how many quarterbacks to draft, or how many tight ends to draft, or when to take your first running back, and all that kind of stuff based on historical data. Show me the history of a player who quits football because he doesn't like it, was hurt for every single one of his final multiple seasons, and comes back at age 33 to a team that already has some question marks and is at best the 4th target on his team. If he's going to step into the Jonnu Smith role, which is like, I guess, the argument, he doesn't do anything like Jonnu Smith does. So I think that's the problem. Yeah, wasn't bad. So it's perfect. Jason Witten wasn't bad. That's the upside case. The downside case is he does not make the football team. The upside case is, okay, maybe I get that final Jason Witten season. Amazing. Awesome. Right? Then the downside is, congratulations, you drafted a guy who goes back into retirement. Like, that's the range. That's the range we're talking about. Forgive me if I would prefer a little more juice if that's the range. But if my upside bet is the end of Jason Witten's career we're also talking about the Miami Dolphins. Let's not ignore the Dolphins situation. They still don't have a very good offensive line. Did we not see what happened at the end of 2023 and last year in 2024? They showed some things, but they had to change their entire offense because it's possible the NFL just figured these guys out. Is Tyreek Hill cooked? Is Jalen Waddle any good? How good is Tua? Right? Like, there's a lot of concerns about the Miami Dolphins. I like drafting the Miami Dolphins, but we can't just say, Darren Waller, go Burr, Jonnu's gone. Right? We can't make those parallels if we're not going to acknowledge, right? Tyreek Hill goes in the 3rd round. If the Dolphins are so freaking awesome, Tyreek Hill should be going in the 1st round. You know what I mean? Old Waller. This is a good comp. Old Jimmy Graham. Man, I loved Jimmy Graham. He was so freaking good. Yeah, Gronk is probably the best tight end of all time. And he was playing with Tom Brady. So I don't love that one. We started with Puka in the 1st round. I do not have Rashee Rice with Puka. Thankfully, we are in one of the sicko rooms where all the wide receivers are getting snatched up. And I can't believe in BBM I don't have Rashee Rice with Puka Nacua. So we're going to start out with that. 2 of my favorite players, and I don't have them together in BBM. Probably a mistake. Yeah, Nick says age-wise, and shout out to, I believe I see the Patriots jersey in the Avi for Nick. Shout out Nick. Gronk didn't retire because he was bad or wanted to start a rap career, and then Tom Brady right? Gronk is probably the best tight end of all time, and then Tom Brady is probably the best quarterback of all time. And that's a little bit different than Tua and Darren Waller. If we got to reach into our Gronk Brady bag for comps, I think we should probably take a step back and not do that one. Since forever. Armstead retired, and they only added a second-round tight end who's probably an NFL guard. Exciting offense, but fragile. No notes. Shriath says that, and I could not possibly agree more. And I'm excited for Tyreek. I'm reasonably excited for Achane, but let's acknowledge the fragility of the offense, and it only got more fragile now. that is definitely something. Remember early career? Oh, I'm on the clock. I guess I should pay attention now. Sorry. Speaking of, let's do Tyreek. Ooh, yeah, let's do Tyreek. I think he's going to keep rising. So I'm trying to scoop some Tyreek, because if we want to talk about how to play the Dolphins now without Jonnu Smith, you want to know how to do it? Not Darren Waller, all the other guys. That's where you get your value. In my opinion, we ranted and raved about Kelsey Plum's ex. That's what he should be known as, Kelsey Plum's ex. We ranted and raved about Darren Waller. The real win here, in my opinion, is all the other Dolphins. Right? If you want to tie yourself into a pretzel trying to convince yourself that Darren Waller is going to smash, go for it. But I don't know why you wouldn't just draft Tyreek Hill, Achane, Waddle, Malik Washington. Why you wouldn't just draft those guys? This is my take as well. Yeah, see, there has to be a Wounded Geese says Waller in contests like Superflex that's 89% full, being 0% owned. So he's going to be 10% owned now, which is still really, really low, and that's great. I just don't think it's worth the pick. And like I said, you guys know, if you guys been hanging out, if you're in the Discord, if you've been watching, I will happily take every L that I deserve. I'll wave the white flag when it's time to wave the white flag. I just don't want to put my money on that bet. The upside case of end of career Jason Witten, and the downside case of goes back to his laying by the pool all summer. Like, I don't know. I just don't get it. We don't even know that he's going to make the team. You don't have to make the pick now. Like, just wait. We'll find out. But this I agree. Totally agree. Bruce says, and who was it that Nick said Tyreek in round 3 won't last much longer. We've been waiting. I've had Tyreek, I believe, at pick 20 or so in the rankings, somewhere around pick 20 for Tyreek for me for a little while now. And let's see here, Daniels. I loved. Let's do Devontae Smith. See if we can't scoop that up. I say this, and I'm sure you guys are all in here, but the AJ Brown drafter is not going to go between here, between my 4th round pick and my 5th round pick. So I'm going to take Devontae Smith, who is also probably my favorite 4th round pick anyway. I would say him or Amari Hampton or Jalen Hurts, and see if he falls. I am guessing no, because I see some of the names that are there, but maybe people will stay in their lane. We'll find out. This is so funny. This is a deep cut. Edward says Caleb Lohner has more upside than Waller. Notably, Caleb Lohner, college basketball player. Caleb Lohner bounced around a little bit. I believe mostly at Baylor and BYU, Baylor, and Utah. Is that right for Caleb Lohner? Hold on. It's going to bother me now if I don't. What the hell? Sports reference / CBB. Why is this not loading? There we go. Caleb Lohner. College basketball player from 21 to 2025. Yeah. God damn. Don't ask me if I know my college hoops, brother. 2 years at BYU, 2 years at Baylor, and then closed out this year at Utah. Caleb Lohner. Freak athlete, by the way. Jalen Conyers. I love Jalen Conyers. I drafted I think he was my highest owned tight end in college. Damn you, B. Causey. Almost got Jalen Hurts almost gets back. Hampton went. Woof. Oh God. Should I do the Dolphins? Let's do the Dolphins thing. I really don't like Jalen Waddle, but let's do the Dolphins stack, huh? What a fitting. It's a fitting time for me to do the Dolphins draft. I just said let's draft all the other Dolphins and not Darren Waller. And we ranted about we're so bored. Think about how bored we have to be to talk. We as me included. I was the one talking about Darren Waller in the year of our Lord 2025, July 2nd at 10 a.m. Eastern. 8 o'clock in the morning. Like imagine being on the West Coast and having your brain consumed by 33-year-old, recently retired and injured former rapper Darren Waller. We need training camp fucking bad. Real bad. Because this is what our conversation is all. The crazy thing is the Jonnu Smith trade, just like it was quickly like, no, we just don't want Jonnu or Freiermuth. Who cares? And like, that's like possibly more interesting, but we just kicked that one to the curb real fast because we got this other bizarre news. We just need training camp so bad. 100%. 100%. I'm sorry. This is hilarious. Terrence said he's sitting outside of a court waiting for a verdict. I don't have anything better to do for the next few hours, or possibly for the next few years if the verdict doesn't go your way. You know what I'm saying? I'm kidding. Lawyer Terrence? That's pretty cool. Oh, God. Okay. So, see, this is why the running back stuff is disastrous. I'm going to do Demont. Lazily, Demont RB1 on the 0 running back team. Oh, I got you. I was trying to catch up on the chat. Yeah, Shriyath, we've been drafting for 4.5 months. We'll make our own news. We are definitely good at making our own news in this world. That is for sure. Matthew says that Waddle is the biggest winner. Get some of those short targets back. I think that is very possible. I think I truly believe the biggest winners are, and I guess I should say the winner is going to come from. I can't guarantee which one of these guys it's going to be. But I think people are saying it's Waller, and then they're also giving it to Achane. I don't think Achane can get any more targets, right? They're like, you're going to give Achane targets that Jonnu left. Like he already had 1 billion of them. They can't check it down any more than they already did. So I don't think Achane. I think Achane is fine, but I don't like. I think if you liked Achane before, you like Achane the same. I think the winners are Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Malik Washington. This Nick Westbrook-Akine stuff, no thank you. I think if Malik wins the slot job and moves Jalen Waddle outside, I think Malik gets a lot of those short targets, which is where that's his thing. That's what he does well. Good Lord, you guys are gonna make me go like total 0 running back here. Let's do. I don't have enough Jaden Reed. Kareem's got me second guessing my exposure to, and I think it was too low anyway, but Kareem's got me second guessing my Jaden Reed exposure. If you had a chance last night, we had to delay this week's Legendary Sickos a little bit and posted it last night at like 5:30 p.m. Central, something like that. So that's on the channel and in your pod feed. And we did a mailbag episode where we answered, I don't know, 10 or something, various questions submitted by you guys. And they were a lot of really, really fun questions. I enjoyed them quite a bit, but we talked about like some of our convictions, some wide receiver breakouts, et cetera. And we talked about that range, this current range of wide receiver that we just went through, like Pearsall, Jaden Reed, Golden, Shakir, right? Mooney, Abuka, et cetera. And Reed is still not my favorite here. I still do like Pearsall, Golden, probably Abuka, Diggs a little bit better. But I think that some of the Jaden Reed bull case was something I probably haven't been factoring in enough. I straight up do think Malik Washington, like if you were to, if we're doing the, I'll do Jordan. We'll do a little Jordan Mason action here. If we're doing the Jonnu is vacating, right? Think about it from just a straight like football sense. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine is not elevating the offense. It's possible he just wins the outside job and they want Waddle in the slot, right? So this is the outcome where Waddle wins, and probably Tyreek lost a lot of the manufactured touches and the short stuff last year, and that's what hurt him. Why he was still okay, but why he wasn't typical Tyreek is he lost some of that stuff. It went to Jonnu and Achane. But Waddle lost it too. And because Waddle's playing on the outside more, he gets a little less of that, check down, hitch, manufactured touch, bullshit, gimmicky stuff that Mike McDaniel likes to run. If we remove Jonnu and we say, okay, those this is actually part of the Darren Waller problem is he doesn't do what the reason why the Jonnu thing popped is because Jonnu has a very specific skill set. He's a yak player. He's really good with the football in his hands. He's not really that great of a receiver, but run a check down, run a tight end screen, give me the ball and let me go with the ball in my hands. Jonnu is one of the best in the league at the tight end position at that. So it fit really well, right? He stepped into a role that just ended up being needed by the Dolphins. That was never and is certainly not now Darren Waller's skill set. He can, do some stuff up the seam, right? And use his big body against safeties and linebackers and stuff. But who thrives in that role outside of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle? Malik Washington. It's his best skill. He's an underneath player who is a yak god. He led college football in yak in his final season at Virginia. Woof. I'll do Tracy. Another guy. I really just don't love the Giants guys, but I want to have non-zero, maybe, I don't know, 4 to 5%, up to 8% of the Giants guys, depending upon how camp goes for those guys. But anyway, if we're talking about the vacated, check down bullshit yak targets that Jonnu got, Achane already got 1 million of them, and Tyreek and Waddle didn't. So maybe some go to Tyreek and Waddle for sure. And if Westbrook-Ikhine is in there, he ain't getting them. So I do think Waddle and Tyreek win in that scenario. But in the scenario in which they play Malik Washington over with Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, which is what I would do in 3 wide receiver sets, Jalen Waddle is on the outside, and Malik Washington now fills those vacated like check down yak targets. That's what he does. He's super athletic, runs a 4.3. If you remember last year, the dude's doing backflips in pads after practices and stuff, and he's really good with the ball in his hands. That's the guy that fills that role. So if you're hoping for Waller to step in and do the Jonnu Smith thing, I think you should look elsewhere and envision a new Dolphins offense. Like he's more of the Durham Smythe role, except Durham Smythe's main role was to block, and Darren Waller can't block. So it's very tricky. You don't want to the Mike Gesicki point. You don't want Gesicki, right? You wouldn't want Gesicki here, because they need a guy who can block as well at tight end, not just a glorified wide receiver. And Jonnu, they tried to let Jonnu block, and it was off. It didn't work. It didn't go well at all last year. He was terrible. So, we'll see. It's interesting. It'll be interesting to see how the Dolphins play out. Obviously, I am stacking them up. Yeah, I think that's a fair way to put it. A soft fade on the Giants running backs. There's a couple good questions in here. I do need to see what I'm not taking him yet. I'm gonna do the tried and true loser of 0 RB rooms, but the please God give me some early season production, Javonte Williams, and then possibly do a little Packers Dolphins here, if the room will allow it. Legendary Sickos is the Grateful Dead of best ball content, 2.5 hours in, and they've only done 8 topics. Yes, that is what we do. What I will say is I'm exceptionally long-winded and a rambler, and like as I'm talking, other things start to pop in my head too, right? Like we'll be talking about Darren Waller, and then I'm like, oh look, Caleb Lohner. Let's look up Caleb Lohner's basketball like that is me. I own those character flaws. It is what it is. Pat can be a little bit similar, and we both like talk through our thoughts. We don't have it like fleshed out, right? So we're thinking through our thoughts and maybe even pivoting and changing our thoughts along the way as we talk it through. But then we stumble upon it's like there's one topic, air quotes topic, that we're talking about, but then we rough for B Causey with the old Jonnu Smith. Got the ADP value on Jonnu Smith, but I'm not sure you're going to get closing line value. See, distracted by Jonnu Smith going off the board. But we end up with it's one topic, but it's really like 5 topics because we end up talking about like a million different things all within one. I'm going to do Jordan Love here to stack with Jayden Reed. So we are 11 picks through. I've been known to not recap the team enough because, like I said, I bounce around and ramble from topic to topic. So your running back team, I saw your question, Charles. We're going to hit it in a second. Puka out of the 106. Rashee Rice in the second round. I didn't have any Rashee Rice and Puka teams so far in BBM. Feels bad. So we rectified that. Tyreek Hill, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle to get a little Dolphins stuff going on here. Obviously, a little zero running back team. David Montgomery came back for Jayden Reed, Jordan Mason, Tyrone Tracy, Javonte Williams, and then Jordan Love, QB1, to stack with Jayden Reed. Obviously, no tight ends yet, but sitting pretty good at the other positions. Certainly going to be a late round tight end team. I am going to go ahead and add Tua to the queue. We'll see how that looks. Damn, Tucker Kraft goes. That was who I was eyeing up for my first tight end, but nonetheless off the board. Yeah, Crane and I are both long-winded. It's if you can't handle people rambling for multiple minutes in a row as we flesh out our thoughts, it ain't the show for you. If you want if you want TikTok style, right? Instagram Reels, TikTok style, YouTube short style, we are not your guys. If you want to hear somebody if you want to see/hear the wheels going in the brain, and sometimes the wheels shut down and reverse and move all over the place, that's me. That's the content that I create. I'm gonna figure it out as we go. Don't think this one's gonna happen. That was a great take. Pi says the Grateful Dead of best ball content is brilliant. Martin says the Dolphins passing game will be the same as before Jonnu came. I'm with you. Let's see what quarterback looks like here. JJ McCarthy. I gotta just take Tua. It's a little bit of course, ahead of ADP. I would love to do the let's push him and see if we can get him to come back. I'm just taking him here because I basically built my whole team around this Dolphins passing game stack. If a draft goes a certain way, you probably have seen me or heard me talk about on other shows. If a draft goes a certain way, stacking the Dolphins without Tua is completely fine. Taking Tyreek and Waddle and not getting Tua, say you also got Kittle and so you took Purdy, and you also got Godwin or Evans, so you took Baker Mayfield, and you took those guys, and you get that's totally fine. I just happened to I didn't have outs to the other quarterbacks because I have outs to Stafford, but I just didn't get Mahomes / wasn't targeting Mahomes, and then I took Devontae Smith and didn't. Hurts didn't come back to me. So I really didn't have outs to this team making a lot of sense if it didn't have Tua. But you can have certainly Tyreek teams, but Tyreek and Waddle teams without Tua for sure. You'll stacking without the quarterback is completely fine. That's true. This is a good point. BS Perf, where has Waller been going? It's all over the place. It really is all over the place. All right, let's see what's going on. Running back and tight end. I could do Dobbs and close out I might do that. Let's close out wide receiver. We'll keep it with 7. I got my 2 quarterbacks, right? So Jordan Love stacked with Jayden Reed and Romeo Dobbs. Tua stacked with Tyreek and Waddle. We know what we're looking at there. Gonna have to get 2 more running backs and probably 3 more tight ends. We'll see what happens at those positions. A little bit happier now that I took Javonte and Tracy and Demont, honestly, on this team, because I'm going to need the early season help at the running back position. That is for sure. Soon. Ryan asks, do you prefer drafting early or late in the offseason? Where do you think the biggest edge is? I think early, but I've heard differing opinions. It's a great question. So cheating / cop-out answer is the biggest edge is both. The edges are just wildly different. And every summer, what edge plays out, we can't say for sure. So the edge early is that sometimes some things will happen over the course of the summer. Maybe it's right. Cam Akers tears his Achilles in the offseason, and you got a bunch of 13th round Darrell Henderson. Now, obviously, he sucked, right? Darrell Henderson ended up being terrible that year. Back on the clock, Jalen Wright does make a lot of sense on this team. Yeah, let's do Jalen Wright. Jacked Jalen Wright, 2025. Jacked Jalen Wright. But you get different things at these different points in the offseason, right? The edge, they both have edges, but they both have their own distinct edges that don't apply to the other time of the draft. Drafting early, right? You get the benefit of the chaos of the offseason, and you get the potential for values, right? That's why some of the uproar over the DraftKings thing is like, yeah, it's like, of course, we here at Spike Week have cared about combinatorial ownership, right? And unique pairings and unique teams and stuff forever. Of course, B. Kurt takes Shipley. I knew one of you guys was going to take Shipley, but I figured we would try it. Anyway, you cannot get certain players at certain prices anymore, right? Rashee Rice is probably my favorite example of this, or maybe George Pickens. Those guys were available at a certain price for a certain period of time, and that no longer exists. So you can no longer get those teams. That is a benefit of drafting early. But drafting late, you get all this extra information. You lose the ability to get a lot of that like closing line value, but you gain. Oh God, Freiermuth is the best. Oh my God, we're gonna take all tight ends to close out our draft here. I think. Ooh, a lot of doubt. Maybe not. Maybe let's do a tight end. Let's do it. Cade Ott. There we go. Cade Otten bring back, as you see, Cade Otten in blue. Shout out to the Draft Hacker, which of course is a part of Spike Week Premium. That's what you see, all the pretty colors and percentages and everything on my screen. I just realized I should probably zoom a tick. All these pretty colors and percentages and such on my screen. The week 15, 16, and 17 matchups, of course, are available here via the Draft Hacker. And as you see, so I use the color, but you can customize all of these settings. If you go to spikeweek.com, if you have a premium subscription, which is only $40 a month or $300 a year, you get everything, right? You get this Draft Hacker, but you get our rankings, our strategy, all the sports. College football is about to come out, one fee for the month or for the year, and you get college football. NBA is about to come out. We'll have NBA rankings, NBA strategy. The tools work for NBA and for college football and for hockey and for baseball and for golf and everything, right? MLB playoff best ball coming soon. But I'm like sitting here trying to decide between guys. I don't know, right? The ranking at this point, I don't think is all that different. I need a tight end or a running back. Where do I go? And you see Cade Otten popping off the screen here with blue, Miami here. I don't have any Tampa Bay Buccaneers on this team. I have a Miami stack, and Cade Otten plays the Dolphins in week 17. So it lines up in blue because I have the quarterback as well, right? But correlating with a non-quarterback is what you see here on your screen. Pat Freiermuth plays the Lions in week 16. And so I have a non-quarterback there, right? So that's why I have it in orange. You can set it up however the hell you want to set it up, but that's just how I do it. We're gonna do the tried and true Jarquez Hunter probably here, unless something else pops off the screen to me. No. Jarquez Hunter, closed out running back. Have Puka, right? I have Puka, so we'll just build a little secondary correlation with the Rams there. They do play the Lions in week 15 for the week 15 bros. Now it's tight end time. Yep. I just think so Triath says, I don't know. I feel like taking a wide receiver 1 and high end wide receiver 2. Well, first of all, it was a 3rd round pick and a 5th round pick. So not quite as high as like, this isn't Jamar Chase and T Higgins. It means you should really have their QB. Yeah, maybe. But the specific quarterback matters. If you don't run and you have other quarterbacks who even in good Dolphins games and good Dolphins seasons are going to outscore them, it's fine. It's totally fine. All I'm saying is I'm not saying you don't want it, but you don't need to force it. Yeah, no, he does. This is the thing. He doesn't make sense on this team. If Tyreek and Waddle are winners at that price, and the whole thesis of the play was that they're going to consume all the work, then Waller is not a good pick. But I love that the room is this particular room is not buying into the Waller propaganda. I mentioned Theo before. Let's do Theo. Tight end 2. An actual potentially good young player. Let's see. Chat is on fire. I can't even keep up, gents. I can't even keep up. Quarterback talk. I'll let you guys hash that one out. Ryan says, I hear you on the edge having all the info versus CLV, but in a massive field and needing the nuts to win, I feel like you increase your chances of winning by drafting early and increasing advance rates later. I got no pushback. 0. Zippy. I'm with you. I'm totally fine with that. I do think, there's also like a delicate balance of like I'm approaching 500 drafts and I'm trying to play on 4 or 5 different sites and get a lot of these drafts in. So for me, I like from a functional perspective, I can't, get all of like the BBM. And technically I could get like all of the BBMs done early, but then I wouldn't be getting all the DraftKings Millie done early. I wouldn't be getting all of drafters done early. I'm personally just like from a life EV perspective, as opposed to a draft EV perspective, I'm spacing my stuff out over the course of the whole summer. I also want to play things like I forget who it was earlier that brought up the Superflex. Man, I'm a little annoyed. Is that Fryer who just Shuby took fan and fucking I'm gonna stop streaming drafts because Shuby is killing me. Let's I guess do Chig. I have way too much Chig with these guys, but I really was hoping for Harold Fannin, but we'll take Chig as tight end 3. Let's quickly run down this team and pop into another 20-second BBM. Puka Nacua out of the 106. Rashee Rice, Tyreek Hill started to build out the Dolphins thing, of course. Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, David Montgomery, RB1 on a 0 running back team. I do love David Montgomery as an RB1 on a 0 running back team. Prefer the rookies, the pre-Judkins rookies, Henderson, Harvey, Hampton, but nonetheless, Jaden Reed to get a little exposure there and maybe get some Packer stuff going on, which of course we did end up executing in this draft. Jordan Mason, Tyrone Tracy, Javonte Williams are kind of like, I don't even know what you would call that trio of running backs on a 0 running back team. Jordan Love and Tua. So we got those 2 stacks going. Romeo Dobbs to close out the Packers stack. Jalen Wright to build a little Dolphins onslaught there. Cade Otton, as we talked about, which ended up being a nice little bring back for the Dolphins thing. Fits the tight end, needing late tight ends. He fits that. Jarquez Hunter closes out the running back room. Also, little extra incentive on a Rams bet on a Puka Nacua team. And then Theo Johnson and Chig Okonkwo in the tight end room. I like this team. I'm quite a big fan of this team, actually. One I don't have thus far. Looks like you need 8 in the BBM room. No. Like, what are we talking about? Are we not allowed to have player takes? Like, choosing Theo over Waller seems like pride. No, I literally explained why I think Darren Waller is a bad pick and why I think Theo is a good pick. I explained the Dolphins situation. Like, I feel like if we're going to create the content and we're going to sit and listen to it, you got to at least listen to the words. that are being said. You know what I mean? Little Dodger, we are drafting best Ball Mania teams. 20 seconds. Yes, thank you, Bernie. Yeah. See, if you get Tyreek and Waddle both going off, in one individual week, but Tyreek and Waddle can go off in different. Like, I'm not banking on them strictly ping ponging. It's just Tua. So, how many games have Tyreek and Waddle like produced total ceiling games together on the same? Like, you're stacking. A lot of stacking is like stacking multiple players from the same offense is a season long bet, right? Or a ping pong bet. That's actually what you're doing. Because most of the time, right, like the Bucks were like the big hit last year. Like, all the receivers weren't going off at the same time. You weren't using all their scores in the same weeks, right? Cade Otton, you were never using Cade Otton and Mike Evans scored. Cade Otton was mostly useful when those guys were hurt. The ping pong effect is actually what you want when you're like onslaughting offenses. It's not an individual week thing. Generally, like you might get a flex option or something out of the extra guy. You know, Jalen McMillan hits the flex or something like that. Exactly. If Tyreek is going off, it's actually difficult. Even if Tua's having a big passing game, it's actually pretty difficult for Jalen. There's just only so many pass attempts, and like they're not going to throw for, sure, if they throw for 500 yards, definitely. But I mean, I drafted Tua, so I'm with you on like the stacking part of it, but the pocket passer, right? Matthew, if you draft Puka and Devontae Adams, you don't need to like absolutely GM, especially on Underdog where there's no 300-yard bonus. I don't think there's like a mandatory gotta jam the quarterback because it's the scoring just doesn't work out that way. You know what I mean? It's good to have, right? But drafting quarterbacks who do not run and do not run for touchdowns ever, especially ones with serious concussion issues. I do not think it's a total must here. I'm gonna do BTJ. See if we can't create a little fun, unique combo of BTJ. Let's see. I actually don't know. D. Owen says a little behind on the stream. Haven't most BBM winners been drafted in July-ish? I actually don't know. I don't worry too much about it. Let's do BTJ and AJ Brown. Looks like I don't have any of that in BBM. Another flaw, another glitch in the matrix. Not having Brian Thomas and AJ Brown in BBM for me. Disgusting. Can't believe we don't have that. GM cap. Your name gets me. I always want to say cap, but I understand it's Mac, but it's no cap Mac, which is the avatar is excellent, by the way. Yeah, in best ball, I'm not sure that it is that many more things you have to get right. Like if you like, I'm describing a scenario in which like you have George Kittle, so you also already need George Kittle to be right. If George Kittle is right, then Brock Purdy is also like probably right. If we're saying, if like you can stack a bunch of offenses. My best at what? So Pete Overzet and I have, he drafts teams with a bunch of guys, but have every year done a BBM like stream together. And because in BBM2, the first year that we did it, the team we drafted together got 8th in Best Ball Mania. We were like super live to win it. We had Penny. We didn't have Amon-Ra, which ended up being the real killer. And of course, Kyle Pitts pulled his hammy. He caught like a 60-yard pass and pulled his hamstring. And Michael Gallup caught a touchdown and tore his ACL on the touchdown. We were cursed, but we got 8th, so that was fun. But we did a lot of that. We like correlating outside of having a bunch of different stacks, even if you don't have the quarterback, is like all of our opponents latch on to the quarterback part of the stack. But you can have, right? You can have a 49er stack, a Packer stack, a Dolphin stack, and a Charger stack all on the same team with only 2 quarterbacks, right? And you can get the benefits of all of those different correlations. So in that scenario where I'm talking about, I don't, you don't have to have Tua on that team. It would be that where I'm like, I have these other stacks as well. And those quarterbacks are more valuable. And so even if Tyreek and Waddle are going off, so are Kittle and Pearsall. And so Purdy is, right? So are Jaden Reed and Matthew Golden. So Love is. It's like I want to hit on all the different offenses that are going off in the playoff weeks, right? And so I don't have to have the quarterback for every single one of those, even if it's an expensive one, because Tua can still be outperformed by Brock Purdy, right? Certainly by Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, et cetera, et cetera. If that makes, I don't know if that makes sense. Let's see. About to be back on the clock. Josh Allen, Kyren Williams. I don't have Josh Allen yet, and he's on the other side. He's on the other side of AJ Brown. Let's do Josh Allen. I only have 3% Josh Allen. I don't have him with Brian Thomas or AJ Brown yet. Let's try a Josh Allen team. No, I'm not doing James Cook. I am going to do T-Mac, however. Only 10% T-Mac. 14% T-Mac with 14% T-Mac with Brian Thomas. 0 T-Mac with AJ Brown. 0 T-Mac with Josh Allen in my BBM portfolio. That seems like a mistake. So another one we're going to rectify there, similar to the Rashee Rice with Puka Nacua. So this is fun. Other than talking about Darren Waller way too much. This has been fun. I'm enjoying getting some of these teams. GM Bindles, shout out Bindles. Who did you take? Dial is embarrassing. Oh God. Started with Saquon, Derrick Henry. Good Lord. Oh, Jeremy in here. Oh, I am so sorry, Jeremy. I stole Josh Allen from you. Well, you took Breece. Yeah, it's a pretty good start. Malik Neighbors, Ashton Genty, Breece Hall. I think you'll be all right. The Lamar, that's a pretty good start. And getting Lamar consolation prize. It's possible Lamar should just be the quarterback one overall. I believe he is on drafters. Yeah. I believe on drafters, Lamar does go ahead of Josh Allen. So I think getting Lamar over Allen a couple picks later, I think you're going to be all right. This is an exceptional, like really underrated point, like super duper underrated phrasing, and people should print this out and put it as a sticky note. Nolan says there's a difference between being generally optimal and 100% optimal. Something you should do every time, and something that's just more often correct, right? I think that is where we as best ball players get hung up the most, is we see something as, oh, this is more often correct, right? I saw the 3 QB conversation in the chat again. We saw the thing we were just talking about, right? With stacking without the quarterback versus you got to have the quarterback on that team. It's like I have more of my teams that have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle will also have Tua on them. Not all of them, because there are other permutations of those teams that crush. I told you I get distracted so easily. But so Pete and I did something similar with that team that I mentioned. And then I also got 12th in Best Ball Mania 2 years ago. So not last year. We made some other finals last year. Made the DK 555 final last year. Made a few different finals. No Best Ball Mania for me last year. So we couldn't hold up to it. But I got 12th a couple of seasons ago, and I was sitting around 5th or 6th for most of the afternoon, and it just didn't hold. DK Metcalf and George Pickens just didn't quite get me over the hump. Shout out to Metcalf for, I believe, dropping a touchdown, and then Pickens got tripped up on like literally the Steelers' final play. Took a slant that I thought he was about to score and got tripped up. I'm not bitter about it at all. Don't ask me if I'm bitter. On that team, I had Lamar Jackson and actually Kenny Pickett. But I did exactly what we were talking about here. I had Ravens stacks, but I also had Dolphins. They played the Dolphins in week 17. So I also had multiple Dolphins on the other side. I had Waddle actually didn't play in the game, but I had Waddle and Achane right on the other side. I had Kenny Pickett stacked with George Pickens, but I also had I believe Rams, Washington Commanders, Cole Turner was on that team, right? But like I had secondary correlations along the way, but like Lamar was winning the shit for me. You know what I mean? I didn't need Matthew Stafford on the team. I didn't need, just because I had Kyron and whatever doesn't mean I needed Matthew Stafford on the team. Let's see here. We can do a little Chuba action. Gives me outs to Bryce. Obviously, I have Josh Allen. I got outs to with BTJ Lawrence, and now get a little Panthers thing going. Correlates, of course, Chuba plus T-Mac. And then if I do want Bryce, he's available to me late. Gives me some flexibility there. Addison goes, let's see, I have 21% Harvey, 31% Henderson. And I'm taking one of those guys. These guys are really, though, holding back my Chris Olave exposure. But I'm sorry. I can't stop clicking Harvey and Henderson in these rounds as a 0 RB slappy. Being able to get Chuba, Harvey, Henderson, even Connor, Ken Walker, right? Being able to get those guys in these ranges is quite nice. Oh shit! I just mentioned this. Oh, he went 20. You scared the shit out of me. Oh no, Terrence started Chase Higgins Bowers. Yeah, do that when you get the chance, because there's a million, right? Chase Higgins is the most popular combination at the 1-2 turn. It's either I'll look it up. I posted it on social media, but I believe Chase Higgins and Chase McBride are the most popular 1-2 turn, most popular combinations overall in drafts, but particularly at the 1-2 turn. And so if you can get back, if Bowers falls there and you can get him, just scoop that shit up. I'm not sure either. Dial says he hasn't seen Saquon Henry start through 45 drafts. I haven't looked at that one either. I'm not sure if I've seen it either. Is Shuby 12th? No, okay. Shuby says 12th place is a 12th place is a nice 100K. I see what you did there. Yeah, notably, also not bitter about this at all. 12th 2 years ago in Best Ball Mania, got a cool 15 grand or 20 grand, I think it was. Last year, I believe it was 125K, and this year it's 100K. Not bitter. The year Pete and I got eighth, I think it was 40 total, 40 grand total for eighth place in Best Ball Mania. So we each got 20. And last year, like I said, it's eighth place is like 200K. Like, God damn. So like people talk about, just needing to get lucky to like make the final, needing to get lucky to do well in week 17. It's like, well, I did that fucking twice, but the 2 years that I did it, the payouts are so shitty that it didn't matter. GM. Teabagging time. At what point does week 17 correlation become over-owned? It's not yet. I can tell you that. But I do think some ways in which some people do it is overdone, which is a little different than over-owned, meaning they'll force it too much. They'll force it from the beginning. You'll hear people say things like, well, I only take him when I have his week 17 opponent, right? I'm only taking Chig when I have Kamara or whatever. And it's like that. No. That's not how we do. Week 17 is like generally a tiebreaker. It's how you would think about it is like a small little boost, right? We would call it a correlation boost. But because that player correlates with other guys on your team, right? So instead of projecting for 5 points, he projects for 6 or 5.5 points now. All right, hold on. Let's do Ibuka. I really got to get the Ibuka bags up too. I sat there and talked about how awesome of a pick he was yesterday, and my exposures are not dictating how awesome of a pick I think Ibuka is. 50% of my Allen teams have Mooney. Yeah, let's not. No, 50% of my Cuba teams have Mooney. Okay, let's not do that. That Pacheco's fine. I really don't like him very much, but Pacheco's fine. I don't have Pacheco on like any of these teams. Straight zeros across the board in the draft hacker of Pacheco with like all of these guys. So I'm cool with that. This is a great take from Shuby. The week 17 to the week 17 correlation part. Over-owned in the first few rounds, meaning people are jamming the superstar week 17 correlations when it's not that doesn't matter. It's just that as you move down the board, the week 17 correlation can be just as big, if not more, because you can get outsized gain, right? If Emeka Buka is really a star, him plus Waddle is also an amazing week 17 correlation to have, but people don't do that one as much as they do Chase McBride or Chase Marv, right? Who else? Who am I missing? Some of the early week 17 correlations. The neighbors, neighbors Genty or whatever is starting because it's J Rhymes, because it's becoming a lot more achievable. Neighbors Genty is becoming pretty popular, and people are like, well, I like both of these guys and they correlate. So naturally that's one of those things that becomes very, very popular. Yeah, sorry, Charles. Thank you for asking this. Last year you had wet dreams for zero running back. Where does it land on the dream scale this year? The same. Pretty much the same. I just like so here's the difference. Last year, the range of running back was like a notch down that I just loved. And that range was correct. I feel vindicated in James Conner and Chase Brown and who all went there. Steelers guys were like so, right? But like the range of from James Conner on down, 7th to the 10th round or whatever of running back was a smash last year. And that was like the one big thing I felt really confident in. I felt that wide receiver pricing was crazy. So to get wide receiver firepower, I needed to spend early. And the running backs from round 7 on were way too cheap. So people said, well, the early running backs are way too cheap. I said, yeah, they probably are. But you know who's even more too cheap? The running backs from like I said, from James Conner on. And so that was kind of my flag plant. And I feel really, really good about like kind of that thesis. It's just that JJ and Tyreek and CD and those guys didn't hold up their end of the bargain. And so this year, good Lord, a little fall for Warren. Oh, we'll do Warren. That's fine. This is an awkward team. But this year, where I would once I make this pick, I'll go back to the board and kind of point out the like range and such that I'm thinking about here. Josh Allen. Good Lord. I really don't want Travis Kelce. I did let's do scat on this team. I did Tracy on the other one. This is the New York Giants running back show. We did Tracy on the other one. We'll do scat on this one. Double back for some Bills stacks stuff here incoming. The range that I prefer now, the range that I just came out of, I don't really love, right? Pacheco is whatever. Like I like Tony Pollard. I wouldn't call it like a total love, but Tony Pollard was in that range last year. Tyjae Spears was in that right there, kind of in there. Again, Brian Robinson was in there and is now in there again, but that range was awesome last year. This year, I don't feel it's as good. The round 7 plus running backs. I actually kind of like, the round like 12 plus running backs as much, maybe 11 plus running backs almost as much. The range that I love that I mentioned is kind of from Amari and Hampton here. You see pick 48 down to the wherever the cutoff is, right? RJ Harvey, probably Travion Henderson, maybe James Conner. That range now. So it wouldn't, if we're being really particular about how we classify zero running back, it's more of our famous new Hawkeye running back build, right? It's diving into the running back range, just a peg up from that last year's zero running back range. So if we still like kind of classify that as drafting off of zero running back principles, then I'm still very much into it. It's just like moving it up a little range. And then of course I didn't do that today, but I actually kind of like the wide receivers in round 7 to 10 a little bit more, right? Downs, Golden, Shakir, Reed, Diggs, Ibuka, Mooney, Jaden Higgins, Trey Harris. Like I like the wide receivers in that range a lot more than I do actually the running back. So that's kind of it's just like a little flip. Last year it was like wide receiver, tight end, quarterback, running back. This year it's like wide receiver, maybe tight end, quarterback, running back, and then back to wide receiver and back to quarterback. If that makes sense. What are the taxes on best ball winnings that big? Gambling taxes are hefty. It's not very fun. Not very fun. Let's see. Remind me of what happened to Mathology. I don't remember. Nick says, I've been throwing elite quarterback in the 1-2 turn to make it more interesting and switch it up. That's interesting. 1-2 turn might be a little rich for me because I think you can get the same elite, right? So Josh Allen and Lamar went at the 3-4. Or you can pull them up to the 2, right? I think you can pull those guys up in the 3rd. Right, take them. I know. In at the end of like the 3-4 turn is kind of where they go, so you're not getting necessarily unique combinations. But if you're looking for a unique combination with Allen and Lamar, you can pull them up in the 3rd round, right? Get them with Chase or JJ or whatever, or pull someone up at the 1-2 turn or late 1, right? Early 2 to get that unique combination. I think you're probably giving up a little bit too much to pull them up to the 1-2 turn. Ooh, Njoku Bataille is also here. God damn, how do I have Njoku on all of these fucking teams? I wanted Kraft on the last one. Let's do Tucker Kraft on this team. So we're sitting 1-5-4-1. About to make the 12th round pick. I would love to do Njoku here with Kraft, but I've been seeking out or waiting for, I guess I should say, the stacking partner with Josh Allen, and we're going to do Dalton Kincaid. I actually like this year. Like is not the appropriate word. I'm cool with, because we're acquaintances. We're not friends. We're acquaintances. The Josh Allen, Dalton Kincaid stack. I don't really like Kincaid much in a vacuum, right? He is an acquaintance to where if an actual friend invites you out, you're like, it's cool that they're there. We'll talk. We'll have a beer, right? We'll maybe play beer pong against each other or whatever. Do people still play beer pong? I haven't been to like a party like that. And I'm very like we established an hour ago that I'm very old. Good beer pong player though. I'll take that. If we ever get a little best ball party going on, I'm quite certain I still got it in the beer pong game. Well, we'll get a best ball of Palooza going maybe later this year, and I'll take down the folks in basketball and beer pong. Decent bags player, cornhole, whatever. Basketball and beer pong, I will take down the best ball world. I think basketball for sure. Beer pong, I'll have to get some practice in. But it's Kincaid is like that friend where you're like, yeah, we'll show up. I came with some other people, or you came with us, but like I didn't text you. Like we didn't text each other to go to the party together. We were just acquaintances in the same room. So it's like, cool, we're cool. That's Dalton Kincaid. Right? Dalton Kincaid's that guy, like an acquaintance, kind of a friend, but like you're not broing out. You know what I mean? You're not going and hanging out together. Beer pong is rare. There's actually beer in the. Say that again. Beer pong is. Bullock, are you drinking right now? Are you playing beer pong right now? Oh, beer pong is played It's just rare that there's actually beer in the cups. Yeah, back in my day, dare I say, we used to walk uphill to school both ways in the snow, but also we played beer pong with beer in our cups. We tossed the ping pong ball around. It got all over the dirty floor. You drank out of the same cups that everybody else drank out of. You poured your beer in there. That's why we're the tougher. We're a tougher generation than these damn kids nowadays. We thought it was cool to drink other people's disgusting germs. You know what I think of when I see this? It was like the beer was the beer was like Galveston ocean water. Just disgusting. Like, it's beer, but it was gross, right? That's like the Galveston Ocean. Shout out Charles Barkley. Dirty ass water. That's not a vacation. You're not going into the ocean in Galveston. It's disgusting. That's what beer pong water was like. So gross. I can't believe we did that. Oh boy. Okay, I actually feel pretty good about tight end. I'm not great at wide receiver. And I don't want to draft Jack Besh. So let's just do Bryce, because I really don't have another quarterback who makes sense on this team. So we got a little Allen Bryce action going on here. And then I can't believe what I'm about to do at wide receiver. This is a couple rounds ahead of ADP. No, it's not. He's gone already. Josh Palmer. What the fuck? Who took Josh Palmer? Oh, God. Well, Carolina Panthers onslaught. Here we come. Adam Thielen. I liked this team a lot better 30 seconds ago. God damn it. Little Dodger took Josh Palmer right before me. I wasn't paying attention. I was too busy talking about that dirty ass Galveston beer water. Beer pong water was what is the Galveston water. Exactly. We all had the same take. We were very prepared for a global pandemic because we were just doing truly disgusting shit. Yeah, you did have to have a water cup, right? The wet ping pong balls picking up hair and dirt off the floor. Says Dow. You had to have a water cup, right? Every team had a water cup. That was our cleaning. That was how we kept things clean. A water cup that you tossed the ball into. Then the water got all dirty. You had to refill it after every game. Just fucking disgusting. I saw a giant-sized beer pong the other day. Instead of cups, it was trash can-sized cups with the basketball. I've seen that also. I've considered buying that. I don't know when I would ever use it, though. I'm not going to do it by myself. And it's not like we have a bunch of parties. And I'm not gonna bring it over to my mom's house. When you go hang out with Mama Beimfohr. I'm not gonna bring a bunch of fucking trash cans and a basketball. We're not gonna. So it's one of those it looks cool, but I don't think it would ever get used. And I got enough shit here that we don't use at the house. We did not do that. That's fucking disgusting. Shuby says if you lose, you chug the water cup. That's gross. He says as he talks about playing truly disgusting beer pong. Galveston Ocean is brown from, fun fact, the Mississippi River. Brother, I know about the Mississippi River. Go east of the river, you hit clear Florida waters. That's good take. Thank you. That's good to know. I've only been to Galveston one time and it was gross. But I was at the dirty ocean part of it, but it comes from the Mississippi, which we are quite familiar with here in St. Louis. It runs right between Illinois and Missouri, right along the city of St. Louis is the Mississippi River, and it is gross, so disgusting. Boom Cup is the game of the young kids these days. I don't know why we have to ruin everything. Beer pong is a perfect game. It's a perfect game already. There's no reason to go back and change. It's like best ball, to bring it back to an actual conversation. Why did Erik only make 20 grand in the years he was finishing in the top 10? It's because people always feel the need to try to change things and reinvent the wheel. Best ball is God's game. We don't need to do all these regular season prizes. We don't need to constantly change the format and the structure, just fucking leave it. If you want to try a new game, sure, just leave the game as it is, because some of us get screwed out of $200K in their bank account. All right, back on the clock in just a second. In the 15th round, I'm going to go ahead and assume that Will Shipley is gone. I'm pretty good at running back, actually. I'm quite rough at wide receiver. Oh, let's do a little Dante Thornton. Insane price on Dante Thornton, but I just want to get a little sprinkle before things get exceptionally out of hand. I am going to turn probably 2.682, I think, on this team. When Abuka is your wide receiver 4, I think it probably needs to be 2.682. Well, instead of doing Jarquez Hunter again, let's do a different. Yeah, let's do Darius Slayton. Little oh shit week 17 correlation. So not an oh shit stack, but the oh shit week 17 correlation. Dante Thornton and Darius Slayton both catching bombs against each other in the same week 17 game. When I'm a little bit wide receiver needy. So far through 16 rounds, so 2 more picks, I plan 1 more running back, and then I do have flexibility. If I wanted to do another tight end, you guys know I'm much more of a 2 quarterback, 2 tight end bro, and I'm actually comfortable with Tucker Kraft and Dalton Kincaid as my only 2 tight ends. I'm certainly comfortable with Josh Allen and Bryce Young as my only quarterbacks, but we'll see what round 18 brings. Brian Thomas, and then we pulled up AJ Brown, Josh Allen, who notably plays against AJ Brown in week 17. T-Mac, Tet McMillan, and Chuba Hubbard, with RJ Harvey, Emeka Ibuka, Isaiah Pacheco, Jalen Warren, and Cam Scattaboo. And then we came for the tight ends, Tucker Kraft. Didn't get Tucker Kraft last draft, so I wanted to get him here in this one in kind of a flat range where I was in need of a tight end. Dalton Kincaid, of course, to stack with Josh Allen. I wanted Josh Palmer, but Lil Dodger took Josh Palmer from me right before the 13th round. So just took Bryce Young, of course, to close out the Panther stack of T-Mac and Chuba. And then we're a little bit in trouble. So we're building a big old Panthers onslaught here. We built a Dolphins onslaught last nothing quite like it, Bryce Young and Tua onslaughts in back-to-back drafts. But Adam Thielen to give me the full-on Panthers stack. Sorry, my dog is licking himself, and it's driving me absolutely bonkers next to me. It's so loud. I have noise canceling on, and I can hear him licking himself. And then Dante Thornton and Darius Slayton for wide receiver 6 and wide receiver 7. I do think I'll probably do. We'll see what tight end looks like, but I do think I'll probably do 2.682 here on this team. That's funny. Rage Cage. I'm learning a lot today from all of you guys about all these new games. Nick, any luck with weekly winners? Just unfortunately, when you are trying to draft, right? So I'm trying to do max BBM, max the DraftKings million, max the drafters main event. I'm trying to get as close to maxing the Underdog Superflex as I can. I want to max the Eliminator. I'm going to draft some higher stakes teams later in the summer. I'm going to draft probably some puppies and all. You got to make a cut somewhere. And I don't particularly enjoy the weekly winners format, so it has not been a primary focus of my drafting. I find it pretty interesting. All right. I just recently wrote an article of my deep rookie sleepers, of which Taj Brooks is one of the running backs. I have since made him a decent little priority here, actually. And then, no, I'm not drafting Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore is the no, I know the answer here. I hope he's not gone. Okay. Another one on the deep rookie sleepers article is Torrey Horton of the Seattle Seahawks, who, of course, notably plays against the Carolina Panthers in week 17. So it's a perfect little fit here for this team. We got a bunch of week 17 correlation. We got the Panthers onslaught. We got my two of my 4 favorite rookie, air quotes, sleepers, late round picks, Taj Brooks and Torrey Horton. I'm into this team, man. I'm into this team. Iceman asks, are you more or less interested in Tyreek Waddle after the Jonnu trade? I am about the same, maybe a tick more interested. But if you go back for the first probably half hour of the show, that is, there was a lot discussed, a lot of Darren Waller, but also just a lot of the Dolphins. I would say the biggest boost for me is Malik Washington received the biggest boost for the Dolphins, because I don't believe in the Darren Waller thing. So if I'm wrong about Darren Waller, fine. But I think the guy who steps into the vacated kind of yak BS underneath targets from Jonnu Smith is Malik Washington. And if it's not Malik Washington, then to your question, it's got to be Tyreek and Waddle, because it's not Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, and I don't believe that it's Darren Waller, because that's not the way that he plays football. I don't even know if he plays football anymore, because he retired 2 years ago and wanted to be a rapper and said he didn't love football. So, but he's not like a yak type player, really. Certainly not at his age. GG, Chris, Austin is headed to the gym, and I am going to be headed to the gym here in just a second as well. Thank you guys for joining me. Be back tomorrow. If you are a Spike Week Premium member, which of course you can get access to in the description, where you get all the rankings, the Draft Hacker, Draft IQ, college football content, rankings, tools, NBA, MLB, NHL, everything. We do NFL here and we specialize in it, but we don't do only NFL here at Spike Week. So if you have interest in everything, you get all the stuff that we offer at the premium subscription link below, just $40 a month. You also get access to the Spike Week Discord, which is free to join, but most of the channels are for members. On Wednesdays, we do what we call the lab in the Discord. It's kind of it's a Zoom call where we hang out and talk about a lot of the stuff here today. Maybe we'll talk some more Darren Waller. Can't fucking wait to talk about it. But we talk about best ball strategy. People ask questions, people share ideas, and all that kind of stuff. That's tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern. But I will see you guys tomorrow here, same bat time, same bat channel, for another best ball draft stream, 10 a.m. Eastern. Hit like on the way out if you can, and hit subscribe so you guys can get notified for all of these draft streams and all of these other videos. But have a wonderful Wednesday. It's a great fucking day to not draft Darren Waller. See you guys tomorrow. Peace.
Woo! Those were some spicy takes. Want to stay up to date with all of the other spicy takes we're going to have over here at Spike Week? Why don't you press that subscribe button below? You turn notifications on, we draft a team, boom, you know about it. We have another spicy take, boom, you know about it. You can be there. You can draft with us. You want to stay up to date? That's how you do it. All right, we'll catch you later next time here at Spike Week.